Hi, welcome to the Derby Podcast. My name is Pilar.
My name is Ryan.
And this week we will be discussing the mesmerizing Persian-language vampire spaghetti western from Iranian director... Vampire spaghetti western from Iranian-American director Ana Lily Amirpour. A girl walks home alone at night. A girl walks home alone at night.
Well done. A girl walks home alone at night takes us onto the streets of Bad City, which is a place teeming with oil wells, a pimp, a prostitute, a junkie, a pit of dead bodies, and at least one very cool vampire. The story, while it is about this vampire girl, it is also kind of mainly about this guy who is trying to make it out of this town, and his inadvertent and unassuming attempt at developing a relationship with this girl he fails to realize is a vampire. Yeah.
Boys don't pay attention to nothing.
Yeah.
So the main characters that we have is the girl, who is the vampire in this movie. She is played by Sheila Vand.
Yes. I believe so.
Yes. Very cool. Very sleek, chic, and magnifique.
Wow.
Then we have Arash, who is played by Arash Marandi.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
I suppose so. He is kind of a little greaser guy.
He's like a James Dean.
He is. He's like a cool dude. So those are the two main characters that we follow in the story. But surrounding them, we have Hossein, who is Arash's father, and he is a junkie. We have Adi, who is a prostitute who has a relationship with Arash's father. We have the pimp, the princess, the street urchin, who is a child. We have the rockabilly, and most importantly, we have Mr. Cat.
Yes, Mr. Cat.
All right, Ryan, to jump into it, how did you project liking this movie, and how did it turn out by the end of the movie?
Okay. Yeah, so going into this viewing, I thought I would like it because I liked it the first time I saw it.
You saw it before?
Yeah, I've seen it before.
Okay. I thought you didn't watch it before.
No,
I thought you had like seen clips of it and was like, oh yeah, that's a cool movie, but I didn't realize you watched the whole thing.
Yes, I have seen this movie before. Okay. I wasn't hiding that fact from you.
I know, but I was under the impression. Okay.
I'm pretty sure I said that I saw it.
Yeah, but you acted so nonchalantly about it that I had thought that you actually didn't watch the whole thing.
I thought you give anything away.
Okay. Well, how did you end up liking it this time?
It's fantastic.
Yes.
It is like just one of the like coolest aesthetics I've ever seen in a movie.
Okay.
And yeah, it's very unique, and I feel like it stays with you for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? This is the first time you've seen it.
Yes, this was the first time I've seen it. I think I attempted to watch it like the first 5 minutes, and then it was just really slow, and it was late at night, so I don't think I was like in the right mood for this movie.
Okay.
So I didn't complete it, but after watching it, it was stellar. I think it's like one of the coolest movies I've seen in a very long time. I feel like, to me, it's reminiscent of Drive as far as like cool factor.
Oh yeah,
like
Drive is very cool.
Yeah. It's like the same pace too, and like I don't believe in Drive there's many words exchanged, and I feel like it's the same.
Damn.
It's like the same aura, but like almost a little bit cooler because it's like black and white.
Yeah.
And it's not Ryan Gosling.
Wow.
Well, I mean, he's cool, but also, have you heard him talk? He sounds like a mouse.
Hey girl. That's the first thing I wanted to talk about, was just like how overwhelmingly cool this movie is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is in black and white, and as opposed to like The Lighthouse being in black and white to be like accurate to the time period of the movie.
Right.
This movie kind of just happens in an unknown time in an unknown place, really.
Right. Yeah.
and it's black and white because it's just cooler to be in black and white.
Yes, it is definitely one of the visually like the coolest movies I've seen, but I also feel like the characters themselves are just like so cool. Like
Yeah, that opening shot of Arash, like just leaning up against that wall.
yeah, you're like, damn.
He's got those like aviator sunglasses, that leather jacket.
Is he like smoking or he's like chewing on something?
He's doing something. He's just doing cool stuff.
He's doing cool stuff. He's like waiting for the right time to kidnap this cat.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know if he like stole his cat or if it was a stray or if he was like, damn, I really just want a cat right now. But then he like walks to his car and it's like the coolest car.
Yeah. He looks like this James Dean guy.
Yeah.
Like Cool Hand Luke, you know?
Yes.
Like
to me, he like just you parallel them together. Like he looks like the guy who plays Lip in Shameless, who is played by Jeremy Allen White. And to me, like that guy is really cool.
mm-hmm.
So this guy was very cool from the get-go just by looking at him.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we mentioned his cool ass car.
Yes.
Also, outside of that, like for the movie, like the soundtrack, is very cool. So I wrote down that the soundtrack was like transformative.
Okay.
Because I don't like this movie is almost nothing without the soundtrack.
Right.
And along with the soundtrack, we have these like slow motion effects where the music slows down. And
yes.
the action
Oh
slows
my gosh,
down.
yes.
Yeah, and it's like the coolest thing.
It really is. And I feel like the way that the soundtrack was mixed into the movie, it like didn't even feel like it was actual like sometimes you feel like it's a song on top of the movie, you know? But I felt like this one was just like integrated, like it was just a song playing in the background. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, it was like a song that was just happening in this world at this
right.
time.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just too cool.
What's it called? There's like diegetic sound.
Diegetic sound?
Yeah. There's diegetic and some other thing. And one is like, you know, where you hear music in a movie and then it like cuts to like a character like tuning the radio. And it's like, oh, that's what they were listening to or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to say that word. All right, so after he steals the cat, we have that like opening sequence where he's walking to the car with the cat, and like this music is playing and it's super cool, and then he gets to like that bridge or whatever it is that crosses this like giant pit of dead bodies, and the music slows down and his walking slows down. It has a slow motion effect. And it like, it just, without doing anything, it just draws your attention to this pit and all these dead bodies.
Yeah, I think I wrote that down. Music slows down once you get to the body, or to the ditch full of bodies. Yeah, that's like, I don't know.
I don't know how it works, because like, it doesn't like point at anything.
It's just there.
You're just like, you're just chilling. He's walking. You're like, damn, this is a pretty cool opening shot. And then it just like,
and all of a sudden it's like a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like, and you're like, oh shit.
you're like, you now know something is like up.
Yeah,
you know?
and they're just so casual about it too. It's like, what is this ditch? Like, okay, I have a lot of questions for this movie.
All right.
First things. Do they know that vampires exist? Why is this pit so like casual? You know?
Yeah.
Like, is that just where the vampire dumps their bodies and then they're like, oh, that's just the vampire dumping place?
No idea.
Is there other murders being committed by non-vampires? Werewolves? Are they involved?
Tonight at 6.
I feel like there was one specific scene that I just felt like kind of mixed with the sound and the visuals and kind of just representation of the vampireness of the film. And that one was where he is, it's the night after he and the girl kind of like hook up or whatever. I don't think they hooked up. I think they were just chilling.
Right.
and he's like talking to his dad, and he's like, I met a girl, and it like zooms in on his eggs, and like the eggs are almost like representing like kind of his supple blood body.
Yeah.
And then her like piercing into his skin or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that happened.
Right.
Oh, wait, or did it? Could he be a vampire right now?
Could he be a vampire right now?
Right now.
During the scene?
Anyways, I just felt like visually it was like really cool. I don't know, to just connect the two together.
Those are some very sexy eggs.
Very sexy eggs. Yes, this whole movie is just so sexy. Like,
all right.
Prostitute, sexy. Adi, hot.
Before we get into the vampirism of it all and what vampires represent in art, I want to talk about a couple more like cool things.
Okay.
All right. So we have this scene with the pimp.
Yes.
Where he's like, he just snorted something like cocaine or something.
Yeah, I guess cocaine.
And he like goes and like turns up the music and like starts this like weird dance. And to me, that was very reminiscent of like a couple of different things.
Okay.
Mainly like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
Okay.
Like had that kind of like creepiness going on.
All right.
But then simultaneously, like the Buffalo Bill parody dance from Clerks 2.
Okay.
That Jay does.
Okay. The one where he's like, I would.
Would you fuck me?
Oh, would you fuck me?
Yeah. Yeah. It was like both of those at the same time.
It's like trying to be cool, but at the same time, it's just like stupid.
Yeah. Like the pimp was like too cool to where it was like almost a mockery of being cool.
Yeah. I will say, right before that, he like does this little funny thing where he like just does 2 lifts. I wrote, lifts twice is horny. I just found the whole like character of the pimp to be hilarious. Apparently he was based off of Ninja from the Antwoord band.
Okay.
Which, I mean, it definitely looked like him. Definitely feel like it was the same energy too. So, and I got that right away watching it, and I was like, dude, he looks straight up like Antwoord and Hulk Hogan at the same time. So, talking about the pimp guy, where we first see the girl turn into a vampire is the scene where he invites her in. He's having a good time trying to entrance her with a dance. Yeah. And she's seduce her. And he thinks he's about to get into some very kinky action, but instead she reveals her teeth, and might I say, they are quite adorable. Like when she first was like, and you're like, oh my god, I love you, or I was. And yeah, she bites his finger off, and then that's that.
Okay. All right. So, as an English major, and someone who has studied like queer theory, so vampirism in literature, or in this case, the text is the movie itself. So to sum it up, I'm not going to go in like this elaborate history of what a vampire is, but in literature mainly, vampires, they represent this gender role reversal or subversion. So a vampire's fangs represent like a phallus. So the vampire's biting someone is penetrating someone. The blood would then be like semen or like a life source for the vampire. So typically vampires in literature are males who penetrate a female like on the neck or on the breast. But then instead of giving the female this life source of semen, they receive this life source through blood. So it's like a reversal of gender roles in that regard. And if we apply all of that to this movie, and the girl is a vampire, then okay, so we have the preceding scene is like the blowjob scene with the pimp and the prostitute in the car, and she is performing oral sex on him, and prior to that, he like rubs his like finger on her mouth or like on her lips, you know, and his finger represents a phallus as well.
Phallus, yes.
All right, so cut to the scene where the girl bites off his finger. Like, that is literally the girl
biting his dick off,
biting off his penis. And then the incredible thing is that she spits it out and then feeds it back to him.
Yes.
Before penetrating him on the neck. Right on the little Pac-Man tattoo, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Walk, walk, walk. Dude, when that scene happened, I was just like, my mind was going insane. I was like...
Yeah, so this vampire girl very much represents like complete women empowerment, because not only does she perform like the male act of penetration, but also the female act of receiving the life source or whatever,
right? While
simultaneously like just feeding him his own
dick. Like, eat your own dick, motherfucker.
Yeah. All right, so that's just like one form of like female empowerment in this movie, which I feel like is very much the theme, like the overall
of the movie,
like the overall theme of the movie is female empowerment. I read a couple of things like critics are like, well, she doesn't even have a name,
right? So it's like the same as Sucker Punch, where it's like she doesn't really have a name, so how is that female empowerment? Yeah.
But in this case, it's more like she doesn't have a name because she doesn't need a name.
Yeah. Also, it's like, sense? Why do you need to know her name?
Yeah.
Like, that's for her to know.
Yeah.
And if she wants you to know what her name is, she'll tell you.
It's for her to know and you to find out. Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
All right. So anyway,
it's more like it's for her to know and for you to mind your own damn business.
That is more accurate. So her name, as far as we know, is just the girl or a girl, which the title of the film, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. If you just think about what that means, like the connotation for any, especially like the word being girl and not woman, walks home alone, like a girl by herself, right. And then at night, and night is typically dangerous,
right?
Like it
just sets up the worst kind of story.
Yeah, like it poses like this hypothetical threatening situation for a girl, but this girl in particular she is the threat.
Yeah,
she is fully autonomous. And not only autonomous, but like completely in control of whatever situation she's in.
Right.
Like,
I think there was a scene with the little boy, the street urchin, where she is like kind of trailing him. And like in my mind, I was like, why is she trailing him? Like, what did he do? He's just a little boy. And she's asking him, oh, have you been a good boy? And he's like, yes. And she's like, don't lie. Like, you better be a good boy because I'll be watching you for your whole life.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, she's like committing or she's doing preventative action.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. You ever seen that show like Scared Straight?
Yeah.
Where they take these like bad teenagers and then like take them to prison or something like that?
Right. Yeah.
And like she's doing that.
Right.
Like hey, don't go get out of line.
Yeah.
Like I will fuck you up.
She will. Yeah, I was really scared that she was just gonna eat this little boy, but I'm glad that she just told him how to act.
He does look juicy though.
He's a plump boy.
Put that in. It reminded me of there's a scene in Breaking Bad where what is the quote? Skylar, Walter's wife, is like, I'm so afraid that somebody's gonna come knocking on our door one night, and like you're in real danger. And I think he says, like, Skylar, I am the danger. I think that's what he's like.
I am the one who knocks.
Yeah, so that is what he says. Anyway, that's what this girl is.
Yeah, she's the one.
She is the one who walks home alone at night. However, wouldn't a more appropriate title of the movie be A Girl Skates Home Alone at Night?
Okay, but she didn't start skating until halfway through the movie.
Also, wouldn't a more fitting title be A Girl Who Stalks Her Prey All the Way Home at Night?
She doesn't go very far, actually, because
so.
she only trailed that one guy for like 2 minutes, maybe. Yeah, I definitely felt like there was a sense of woman empowerment and girl empowerment too.
Yeah.
In a different sense, in a different way that I've never seen it done before. Like we know the girl boss, just don't focus on romance, focus on your career, eat healthy, blah blah blah. It's like, okay,
Miranda
but like
Presley.
Yeah. But it's like that doesn't, like, you can do stuff to better yourself, that's fine. But I mean, you're still a woman in a patriarchal world, so like no matter what you do, you're still like in danger no matter what. Like instead of being like scared to walk home at night, you kind of have to make yourself look scarier. You got to carry your keys like between your fingers to like not to be the threat, to not seem as like the subversive woman who is just going to succumb to whatever danger is going to happen to her.
Yeah, submissive
woman.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so it's not just with the vampire girl. We also see the princess character. This like this like rich girl that Arash works for, I guess. She also has control at times. So they go to this costume party. She pressures Arash to give her ecstasy, and then she also pressures him to take ecstasy himself.
Right.
And then, like, they're dancing, they're having a good time or whatever, and he kind of like makes an advance toward her and like tries to kiss her, I guess. And then she's like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And
but she's like not mean about it. She's like, hey man, like I'm just trying to dance.
Yeah, but like even that, like she is a very minor character in the grand scheme of the movie, but even she is empowered.
Okay, that she has power.
Yeah.
But like in most situations, most women don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Most times we think of a woman at a club with drugs involved as like she is being drugged.
Right.
And then,
instead she drugs someone else.
Yes. I mean, there's that, And then we do have the prostitute character.
Right.
Who, she like succumbs to abuse both by the pimp character and then toward the end with Hossein.
He like, okay, this scene is the one
very
that like
cringy.
Yeah, it's the one that like really tortured me as a viewer. Hossein ends up tying her up and then like injecting her with the cracker heroin. And she's just kind of like left helpless, like after she's already like felt like empowered by the girl. And it's just so hard to watch. I feel like that scene was like one of the worst scenes I've ever seen, but I felt like it resonated with me a lot because it was just so impactful. That makes sense. For this movie to be so cool and so like empowering, it's like sometimes like even yourself like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
Well, okay, so why I think like women empowerment is kind of the overall theme of the movie is because we have like several kind of plot lines going on.
Right.
And this is almost like the climax of the movie. and it's surrounding like a prostitute, like the type of character to like not have a name, though she does have a name in this movie.
Okay.
The type of character that we would never care about, and yet there's the scene that's very powerful and triggering, and we do care for her.
Right.
And then the girl like comes to her rescue basically.
Yeah.
And fucks
him up, dude. Yeah, I guess that's where I felt like the most triggered is like how sex workers are one of the most vulnerable women out there because they're putting their whole bodies out on display and to be commodified, quite literally. So just to like see that happen, and then it's almost like to be empowered, you have to empower others and protect each other. So when the girl comes in to rescue, I feel like that's almost essentially like our relief that like sadly something already has happened, but like we can be there to kind of rebuild women and like save them afterwards, I guess.
Yeah, not all is lost just
Right.
because this woman is a prostitute and has been taken advantage of in so many different ways. She is still of value,
Right.
as a human being and as a woman, and I think that's what we see in that scene.
Right.
And I mean, it's definitely not like this heavy or anything how we're talking about it. Like
Right.
It doesn't come across that heavy, but I feel like that's what it's really about.
Right. It happens so fast. And you're just like stuck in it, and then you're just like, hell yeah, beat his ass.
Yeah, and there's like, to lighten things up a little bit, we can talk about kind of like the girl powerness of that scene too. And the preceding scene when the girl sees Addie, I don't know if that's how you say her name, so I'm just going to keep calling her the prostitute. But we see her find Arash's car, which she had only known once the pimp had stolen or taken his car. So she didn't know that it was Arash's.
Right.
She thought it was the pimp's. So she finds the car and she was like, I'm going to fuck up this car.
She's like, oh, let me get my key out.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we see the girl who has this relationship with Arash watch her do this. And we're like, I think both of us were thinking like, oh shit, she's going to fuck this girl up. She's going to fuck her up. But she doesn't.
No.
And she just goes to her house.
Yeah.
And like has a conversation with her. And yeah, like empowers her basically.
Right. She's like, hey, I don't really like what you're doing, but I'm like here.
I think she said, you don't like what you're doing.
Oh.
You don't like what you do.
And
it's like, fucking, you're better than this. Like that's what it's about.
Yeah.
So there's one more aspect of women empowerment that I thought about as it pertains to the girl. So like talked about vampirism and penetration with the fangs and everything. Well, we have that one scene where her and Arash are like on this date, and he gives her these earrings.
Yeah.
And her ears aren't pierced, but she like allows him to like pierce her ears with the earrings, I guess, but simultaneously allows him to penetrate her.
Okay.
And like in vampire movies, that doesn't happen.
Okay. Gotcha.
And I mean, she allows herself to be penetrated.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like even that is like
That's
her,
like her choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I personally just, in watching this, have a lot of questions about like the lore and world that they live in.
Okay.
So one of my questions is that he had done like heroin, I'm assuming, before this scene happened. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, right. Because he like falls over. And then she like bites his blood, and it's like, I don't know if that affects her. Like, drinking his blood or like getting it, like, I don't know if she drinks it and she just like messes him up. But I mean, she did that to the pimp, and I like for sure she drank his blood.
I would assume so.
So like, is she also getting high?
Possibly.
Okay.
Because I mean, he has drugs in his system,
right?
When she attacks him, and so does Hossein. So I mean, yeah, maybe.
Okay. Well, I feel like that's something I feel like I don't like about the film. If that is the case. I mean, it's not like explicit that she's also like high or something, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like she's also slightly suffering the consequences of these men's actions.
Yeah.
For the sake of surviving, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's another unanswered question too. Is like, is she attacking these guys for sustenance,
right?
Or is it just because they're horrible people,
right?
Like that is a question. But also, we do see her like attack that homeless dude.
Right. That was my next question. Yeah. It's like, is she doing this for survival, or she's doing this to get back at men, or to like...
We only see her attack men. And she doesn't attack the prostitute when she has a reason to
right.
attack her. So I would assume that, she just hates these guys.
Right. But then that homeless guy, like that, I felt like was unnecessary.
Yeah, very much so.
Because I feel like it just messes up with the story. Another question I had was, there's this trans character, or presumably trans or gay character, that is known as a rockabilly, and I feel like there was a scene that was very long that contained them dancing, and they were in a couple other scenes. So they were in the world, but I feel like it really wanted to include them, but it had no idea how.
Yeah.
And it like kind of sucked, because it's like I feel like this character could be a great character, but it's like, it's almost like I don't want them to be there, because it like opens so many more questions up.
So I was thinking about that as well. So there's a couple of things, the rockabilly being the biggest thing that this movie contains, that makes me think that the movie itself is like about more than like the plot.
Okay.
Like, it's almost like the world is bigger than what the movie shows.
Right.
So the rockabilly character, let's say that, is kind of like this like objective observer of things happening in the town.
Right.
Like, they're not in the background of every shot or anything.
Right.
But we only see them like on the street, I guess.
At the party.
Yeah. I assume they like are just watching everything that is happening.
Okay.
Which doesn't entirely make sense, because we also watched the deleted scenes. And I don't know, there's maybe
like maybe 8.
Well, there's another page. I think there's like 13 to 15 deleted scenes. And at least 10 of those are of the rockabilly character.
Right.
One of the deleted scenes, the rockabilly character gets like punched. Another scene, they have like a bruise around their eye.
And they're talking about how they don't feel sorry for me, so feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah. It made me think, like, I don't know. It's almost like the rockabilly character is from a different movie.
Right.
It's like from this world.
From a different world.
Yeah, I don't know what to really make of it.
Yeah, like I feel like.
Okay.
I felt like
that's what I wanted to
Ana
say.
Lily, or Anna tried too much to. She tried to tackle too much, I felt like, with the trans character. Like, maybe she wanted to, like, branch out and include trans into this film of empowerment. Like maybe this character is a trans woman and tried to include that in this film, but just like didn't know how, but had already filmed all those scenes, and so just put it in there. Just
I don't know.
But in watching the deleted scenes, I felt like I liked the character. My problem with trans characters and queer characters altogether is that a lot of them are eccentric to the point where it's like not all queer people are like weird or like, you know, kooky.
Yeah.
And I feel like it just kind of fuels the stereotype of like trans women being like having to be eccentric to survive in a world in which transphobia like exists, because like it's better to live in a fantasy than live in the real world where you're being like harassed or discriminated against. So it's almost like it's better to see yourself as an alien or something out of this world.
Yeah.
To deserve this sort of treatment.
Okay, so the main scene that is in the film with the rockabilly is the scene in which they're dancing with like that black balloon. It was really in watching the like extended version of that scene that I thought maybe this scene, specifically the part of that scene where the rockabilly is like looking into the black balloon, it's almost like, so I was thinking about like vampires not having a reflection.
Okay.
And I was thinking maybe the rockabilly looking into the balloon is almost like a metaphor for that.
Okay.
And maybe it kind of represents the relationship between the vampire and Arash. So Arash is dressed as Dracula. Like he is dressed up as a vampire when I guess he like really meets the girl for the first time. I guess they have this kind of awkward and hilarious encounter. At first, but we'll get to that. Anyway, it's almost like when the rockabilly is looking into the balloon, it's like you see what you want to see. Like you can see the reflection of yourself.
Yeah.
But it's really like a very distorted image.
Right.
And I was thinking like maybe that's what that scene is for. It's like a metaphor for what Arash sees in the girl.
And what the girl sees in Arash as a pretend vampire. Yeah. Yeah, I did feel like there was a sense of like manic pixie dream girl ness happening with Arash and projecting what he thinks this girl is. Like there's a very cute scene that I absolutely love between them where they're at the power plant and she's like, "Oh, I've done some bad stuff." And he's like, "I've done bad stuff too." And she's like, "No, like literally, like I've done some terrible shit." And he's like, I don't know, like he has these feelings towards her and they just like the same music, essentially. And I don't know, like I think it's what you were saying is like he is projecting this sort of image onto her, and then I don't really know what she really sees in him. I think she just like knows he's a good guy.
Yeah, I think she just knows that he's like a kind person.
Yeah. I mean, he takes care of his father after like, you know, years of drug abuse, and
he's got some patience, man.
He definitely does. And when he figures out that the pimp is like gone or whatever, he like steals his drugs. Like, yeah, he steals the drugs and gives it to other people. But I felt like he was trying to regulate, you know, how much the princess was taking. It's like, hey, you only need one. Like, that's fine. Like, not being judgy, but also taking care of her. And then he himself didn't want to take the product because he didn't want to be addicted to it.
Yeah.
And so I felt like, I don't know, there were like a lot of good traits about him that the girl doesn't quite see, but I feel like maybe she could just sense after like killing so many terrible men. Like I am assuming all those bodies are hers in the ditch. So
I mean, potentially.
I think she can read a man.
So there's one other part of the movie that seems almost like completely separate from the plot.
Okay.
And that's this like weird like infomercial thing.
Yes.
That we see kind of briefly in the movie itself, but there's like a very long deleted scene of this infomercial.
Yes. The fruit roll-up.
Yeah, where this guy is basically like selling women empowerment.
Right.
Through
like sex work.
Yeah, like through like sexualizing women, basically.
Right.
And he says,
at first I thought it was like a divorce lawyer commercial.
It's weird. I said it basically makes a mockery of empowering women through sexualizing them to men.
Right.
So he says like, take your plum, make it a fruit roll-up, which I have no idea what that really means.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's also this ad. There's like a portrait of like a faceless woman in I think it's called a chador.
Okay.
And that's also what the girl wears, like the black cape-esque thing.
Mm-hmm. Similar to the poster of the movie.
Yeah. There's like an ad. The first time we see the girl, she's coming out of the shop, and there's a big ad on the wall next to the door of the shop, and there's a word like on the blank face of the woman, which just reads Shoma, and that means I love you. And I don't know what to make of that, but like this infomercial is so long in a deleted scene. And we see it playing on a TV at some point during the movie. Right. So like, and it's an ad like on a building in Bad City. So it's like, it's this entirely separate aspect of the movie.
Right.
That has no influence on the plot. But it's like, it's part of this world.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I did read that there are more graphic novels related to this. I don't know if they came out after or before.
They came after the movie.
But I would definitely be interested in reading those after watching this movie, because I am so interested in this world. Like, I still have a lot of questions. Like, is the cat her familiar? Because it was when the prostitute gets drugged, like, we see the cat's eyes and we see the girl, and I'm like, does she have any relationships to this cat? Like, is she able to watch Arash through this cat, and that's why she likes him? So that is like, I don't know. I want to know. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this movie tackled a lot, and it did a lot with the character of the girl. But I feel like it wanted to do more and just didn't know how to incorporate it. And then I feel like it's hard to like set up a sequel for A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night too.
Well, it could just be The Rockabilly Walks Home Alone at Night.
Right.
Something.
But I don't know. I think it set up a really nice relationship with Arash and the girl. And I felt like they were very sweet together. And like, he might not know anything about her, but I feel like he's patient and willing to take the initiative and time to get to know her, like, after they get away. Like, he's only known her for like 2 days, and he's like, run away with me. And she's like, okay. That's another thing that I love about her. She's just like, okay, let's do the thing. Let's pierce my ears. Let's run away. She has cool posters. She didn't even take any of those down.
All right, so there's a couple of moments in the movie that kind of really stood out to me. When the girl is on the street and she walks by the pimp toward the beginning of the movie, there's a sign behind her that's like a person walking sign, but it is like a hooded woman figure.
I think I did see that.
And I don't know if that's like an authentic Iranian thing, or if it is just made for this movie. Yeah, but it is very cool because it's like oh, this is like a vampire crossing right here. Then at the pimp's apartment or whatever, it's like, can the pimp actually have a house? You know, that's an apartment. Anyway,
it's a condo.
It looks very much like an NES Nintendo gun.
Okay.
That's on top of the briefcase. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Okay.
Anyway, there's a minor continuity error there because it's on the briefcase just in one scene, and it's next to the briefcase in every other scene.
Wow.
Anyway, I loved the part where she's skateboarding, and Arash is just like,
oh my god, he's
he's
stumbling by.
He's like fucked up. He's just staring at the light.
Oh, that's right.
He's just staring at the street light.
And she's like
skating past him, and then you can like see it on her face. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna stop. And then she like comes to just like a skid stop on the skateboard.
Yeah.
She's like,
I feel like the skateboard added a lot to the movie too. Like after they have their little discussion about the light, and then she's like, oh, you should come with me. And he's like, I can't get up. And she's like, all right. And then scoots him on the skateboard. Yeah. That's very cute.
Yeah. I mean, the skateboard acts as like a really valuable media through which the chador that Iranian women do wear, that the girl wears, it like repurposes that into like the super cool like cape. Yeah. And it's like, she's like an anti-hero, you know,
right?
Like skating through this.
Yeah, and then the skateboard itself, like skateboarding is so male dominated, to where like she's just like using that as her like kind of maneuvering to like kill men. Like, that's fucking sick.
It's cool. Super cool. All right, that's kind of the stuff that stood out to me.
All right.
You want to wrap this thing up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
All right, so let's get into our ratings. Pilar, what did you rate this movie?
All right, after thinking about it real hard, and I thought about it real hard, I gave it an 8.8.
Okay, all right.
Which is lower than I would like to put it, but I had to think about a lot of things. I mean, obviously the sound and the aesthetic of the movie, cinematography, is fantastic. As much as I loved the scenes that were included, there were just some scenes that were just unnecessary that we talked about, like the rockabilly and I can't remember
the homeless man.
The homeless man, yes.
It reminded me of like, get a job, Al.
Get a job, Al. Get a life, Al. Yes. That and like the plot I feel like wasn't very strong. And it reminded me a lot too of The Graduate. Kind of just like running away with a girl you barely know and just like falling in love, I guess. I don't know. Like under a night.
Okay.
And I mean, I don't speak the Persian language that is in this film.
Yeah, Farsi.
So I can't say too much about the dialogue, but from the subtitles, it wasn't the strongest dialogue I've read.
Okay.
So for those reasons, I did have to kind of just bring it down.
Okay. All right.
But, I mean, I really liked it. I think I would be very excited to watch it again very soon.
That's fair enough. All right, so I am actually rating it a little higher than you.
Whoa!
I'm going to give this movie a 9.1.
Wow!
So it does have things that you mentioned. I talked about a continuity error. I'm sure there's more continuity errors.
Right.
It's definitely not like a perfectly made film. But I thought just for like how fun and how stylized it is.
Yeah.
Like, I love that.
Right.
Like, there's some movies that are like, wow, this is how you fucking tell a story. And then there's some movies like this that it's like, wow, this is a fucking piece of art. You know?
Right. It definitely felt very art versus like other movies that we watched. Like I love Room, but it doesn't feel like art. I feel like it is like just a movie.
Yeah.
Where like this film, like I probably love it just as much as Room, but it's just so much cooler, dude. I could just look at this movie and like not even. No, I would have to listen to it. The soundtrack is sick.
Yeah, you have to listen to the soundtrack. But I just thought for what it is, it is. So Ana Lily Amirpour, she is an Iranian-American. The movie itself was filmed in California. However, it is, set up in this like Iranian dystopia, and I think just for what it is, it's like it's in Farsi. It seems to be like calling out like the hypocrisy of like all of these Iranian cultural restrictions, especially with like, I mean, everything from like music and dancing, the drugs, sex, women empowerment, and then especially queerness as well with the rockabilly character.
Right.
And yeah, I just think it's so unique in doing that.
Yeah.
That it's definitely worth a 9.1 to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a film worth watching, and I definitely recommend y'all watch it. If you haven't seen it, your brain will be blown away by the visuals and sounds alone. It's just such a very, like, despite like the drugs and like the violence, it's a very wholesome movie.
I'm gonna give it a 9.1 out of 10. We'll watch again.
Yes.
What is your one favorite thing about the movie?
All right. Well, obviously, Mr. Cat is my favorite thing.
I'm not thinking about Mr. Cat being your favorite.
I mean, okay, so that is definitely like my favorite aspect of the whole movie. I love Mr. Cat. He's the cutest cat I've seen in a film. Yeah, honestly,
very, very cute.
He's very like, I don't know. He's well tempered and just cute and adorable. But scene wise, is the scene in which she gets her ears pierced. And he's like, "Oh, I got you earrings, but you don't have ear piercings. I did not realize that the night that we met. Also, what's your name?" I loved that. And then when he pierces her first ear, she like turns around. You see her like little fangs. Dude, that is so cute. And she's like, "Okay, let's do the other one." Yeah, and then she like figured out like from the first one how much pain it was going to take to like released her fangs, and the second time she like restrained herself really hard to not have it again. But I thought that was very precious how she was just like so like in the moment was like, okay, pierce my ears.
So my one favorite little moment is after she kills the pimp. She's like going through his CDs. Just the nonchalance that she's doing it with. She's like looking at him. She's like, no. Yeah. Okay, this one, no. She's just like throwing them off of the table. Yeah. I just thought that was hilarious.
She's only about two things: music and fucking up predators. And skateboarding now.
Yeah, skateboarding is a new thing for her. All right, so speaking of skateboarding, I guess, for our next episode, we are looking at skateboarding movies. Yeah. There's a lot to choose from, a lot of like documentaries and stuff like that. And like, of course there's like skate films and stuff, but we wanted to do like movies somewhat about skateboarding, or that the character has skateboarding in their repertoire.
And we didn't want to compare documentaries to like movies, so we excluded those as much as we want to watch them. But for the films that we have mid-90s, came out in 2018, directed by Jonah Hill. We have Paranoid Park that came out in 2007, directed by Gus Van Sant. Ooh, okay. And Gus Van Sant? Yeah. And then we have See What's Up Rockers, which came out in 2005, and it's directed by Larry Clark. Yeah. What does that mean?
Just Larry Clark. Anyway, those are three choices of movies that have to do with skateboarding. Yeah. So let us know which of those you'd like us to watch and review next. But that's pretty much it for this episode.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you for watching. I hope you had a good time. Please subscribe to our channel, like the videos, and share us with your friends.
Yes. And to vote, you can always comment in the video down below, or you can follow us on Instagram. We are There Will Be Podcasts, or on Twitter, we are Pod from a Basket.
Yes. We're also on Spotify and Google Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts from, or just about everywhere.
Except Apple, because they're discriminating. But thank you again so much for watching. Please watch this film. It is so good.
Yeah, it's really good.
We're going to leave you with some really hilarious reviews, and I hope you stick around for those.
Yeah, they should be fun.
Bye. Me. Wow, this female-directed and written film is an incredibly well-done critique on how women are viewed and treated within societies across the globe. Also me. Aw, look at the cute cat.
A sad vampire skateboarding down the roads of a neo-western ghost town is the only way I've ever wanted to live my life.
A vampire skater girlfriend is not a want, it's a need.
She kills the dude and steals the CDs? Legend.
Legend. Twilight could never.
You said Twilight.